Hello everyone and welcome to part 5 of our F122 driver career mode here for Williams on the F122 game. Last time out in part 4 in Miami we were able to score some more points for ourselves with a crazy finish with a 4-wide drama into the final braking zone of the track, and luckily we were able to come out second best of that 4-wide battle. Absolutely insane. Go check that race out if you haven't seen it yet. We currently sit 10th in the driver's standing on equal points with Daniel Ricciardo. So yeah, we're doing pretty well for our first season in a Williams. Albon yet to score points, unfortunately. He's definitely shown the pace, but yeah, just a couple unfortunate unreliability issues and whatnot, and yeah, he just hasn't scored any points yet, but definitely soon. He's shown the ability for him. But yeah, without further ado, let's get to the grid rundown for the sprint race here in Austria.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Leclerc, Sergio Perez and Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, Bottas and Sebastian Vettel, Albon, Magnussen, Esteban Ocon and Norris, Benjamin, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou and Yuki Tsunoda, Gasly and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
So here we are on the grid in P15 for the Austrian sprint race here. And it is very wet, as you can see. We're on the full wet condition tyres. So yeah, this should be very interesting heading into this sprint. Unfortunately, yeah, we weren't quite able to qualify that much higher. Albon up in 11th, as you can see. We get a very nice launch off of the line immediately up into P13, actually alongside Magnussen to try and get into P12, but we just get boxed in on the outside, so we just have to go nice and slow and ginger here to make sure we don't get any damage. Get it around the outside of the Alpine, have to tuck back in behind Magnussen, and it is P13 there. So yeah, good start. All in all, there to be in P13. Albon has held on to P11 as well, so that's really good for our teammate. A couple of positions, and he could be getting points here in this sprint as we go for a massive dive. That wasn't intentional to go alongside of Albon. I was just trying to get Magnussen, but everyone just checking up into turn 3 there, I guess. The Constantina effect happening, but we get a bad run out of turn 3 anyway, and Albon is back ahead of us. So P11, P12 now for us here in Williams. Actually really good, as Magnussen dives it down the inside. Not just me, but Albon as well, so sort of returning the favour for what I did at turn 3 there, as I get a massive tank slapper, and Magnussen still going alongside Albon here. We'll have a little look at what is happening throughout the field though. We've got Hamilton leading the way ahead of Russell, so really good here for Mercedes in Austria. They've really found some form. Although Hamilton going very slowly, backing up the field. It's not a safety car. Hamilton has had an engine failure here from leading the sprint race on lap 2. That Mercedes engine has had enough, and that is just a huge bummer there for the 7-time world champion, who was looking to get his first race win in quite a bit at the moment. But as you can see now, everyone really backed up and racing because Hamilton sort of condensed the field there, going slow. We're going to look to the outside. Had to go on the curb to avoid hitting the back of the Aston. We've got Albon for alongside Sebastian Vettel, and we should have the better run out of the corner. We're going to use some ERS to try and get the job done. That is us into P10. And we do get it done. You can see trying to cover to the inside to stop Vettel from diving, but he's dived it anyway. But yeah, we're just the superior line around the outside of turn 4 there. We do have the move done into 10th place. Obviously, no points for 10th in the sprint race. You have to get the top 8 for points in a sprint. So yeah, a little bit of work to do, but you can see 8th place just up ahead there with Daniel Ricciardo and Magnussen battling away. But looking up ahead, we have the 2 Ferraris, Leclerc and Sainz, going at it down into turn 3 on lap 11 here. So this is right towards the end of the sprint, and Leclerc has spun in front of Sainz. That is both Ferraris ground to a halt there at turn 3, and Sainz can't continue going yet because there are cars coming, so he can't just drive straight in front of oncoming traffic. And so both Ferraris are just stuck sitting there. So we were in P10. That moves us into P8, into a points position in the sprint with 2 laps to go. That is a huge shocker and a huge moment there for Ferrari in the sprint, and that could very much hurt them in the full Grand Prix coming up next. As you can see, we cut to the end of the sprint. It's going to be P8 for us, so a single point in our pockets, as well as a really good starting position for the Grand Prix.
All right, race over. Take care of the
So here we are with the results for the Austrian sprint there. Russell taking the win ahead of the two Red Bulls. A lot of drama coming out of just that such a short 12-lap race there, with ourselves getting into P8. So really nice to pocket ourselves that extra point, as well as a really nice starting spot for the actual Grand Prix. And Albon as well, starting down in P12 for the Grand Prix. So really not bad. Only lost a spot from his initial grid placing. But yeah, let's get into the rundown for the actual Grand Prix.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. What a qualifying yesterday for George Russell. He'll start today's race from pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, Kevin Magnussen, Benjamin, Mick Schumacher, Vettel, Albon and Yuki Tsunoda, Stroll, Joe, Lando Norris and Ocon, Leclerc, Sainz, Pierre Gasly and Max Verstappen. Bottas, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Lewis Hamilton rounds off the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into Turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So here we are lining up in P6 for the Austrian Grand Prix after a couple of penalties being applied to a couple of drivers that finished ahead of us in the sprint. So yeah, really good position to try and score even more points here. Our third lot of points here in this season. Yeah, we just got to make the most of every opportunity. It is a good track for Williams around here, obviously based on the actual qualifying session. Albon qualifying right up in P11 is a good indicator of the pace that we can have around here. You know, just the upgrades that we've brought so far, as well as just being a track that isn't very aero dependent. It is very much a straight line speed track, which helps us here in the Williams. Probably one of our better tracks over the course of the season, and so we've got to try and make sure to make the most of this opportunity. We are going to have a lot of fast chargers, both Ferraris, Hamilton and Verstappen, all coming from the back of the field, so we've got to watch out for them coming behind us, but they do have a lot of traffic to work through. But as we go to the 5 red lights, we are underway for the Austrian Grand Prix. It's an okay launch, not the best. I haven't gained on anyone ahead, but I also haven't lost any positions heading into Turn 1. I'm actually pretty open air all around me. But as we go through Turn 1, Magnussen was out wide, and so we've made the position up on him into P5. We're also alongside Fernando Alonso in the Alpine to try and go for P4. Can we maybe even go for a move on Daniel Ricciardo into Turn 3? We're going to look and creep up, but just not quite enough. I decide to back out and just focus on getting the position off of Alonso, which we do. So into P4 now at the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. Very nice start here. And yeah, moving up those 2 spots could be very crucial later on in the race. But now we just got to try and focus on chasing down our fellow Aussie. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to. But either way, let's go for a little rundown of positions. We've got Russell leading the way, still he's held position off of the start of the race. Perez in second, Ricciardo third, ourselves in fourth. We've still got Alonso right behind us in P5. The 2 Hasses of Magnussen and Schumacher in 6th and 7th. AlphaTauri of Yuki Tsunoda in P8. Vettel in P9 with Zhou Guanyu in P10 just behind him. Verstappen already into P12. He started down in P19. So, yeah, what an insane start from the Red Bull driver. We got Leclerc and Sainz in P14, 15. So they are still working their way up through the field. Hamilton down in P18. He hasn't been able to make much progress so far, and unfortunately, I'm not sure what happened to Albon, but he's right down in P19. It looks like he's had to make a pit stop, so he must have got a bit of damage on that one, which is super unfortunate for our teammate. You can see under attack, though, from Fernando Alonso. We sweep around the outside of turn 1. No DRS quite yet for ourselves. Alonso behind us does have it. Is he going to go for a move into turn 3? Yes, he is. He dives it to the inside. We're going to try and hold it around the outside, but just not quite able to get the move done. And Magnussen now sticks his nose in. He's actually had a really nice run out of turn 3, and so he's gotten ahead. We've lost 2 positions for the price of 1 there down into turn 3. Can we maybe go for a move on the Haas, though? Not quite. We're just going to sit in behind and be very patient. We don't want to be silly, make any silly mistakes, and throw this opportunity away. Looking further back, though, Verstappen gets ahead of Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin, and he's now looking to make a move on Sebastian Vettel. So Verstappen really making his way through the field. Look at this, he's already got the move done on Vettel there, so he gets both Astons in pretty much 2 corners there. So yeah, he is hungry to try and score some good points here, and already into P8. What an insane start to the Grand Prix for Max Verstappen, although there is a whole pack of cars behind him with DRS, and so he's under attack now from Sebastian Vettel. Ocon as well now dives to the inside of not just Verstappen, but also Vettel, and he's going to try and make up 2 positions into turn 3 here, and this is just on lap 4, so this is some crazy racing between these guys. Vettel doesn't have the DRS, but he must be deploying some extra power because he's kept it alongside that Alpine the entire way down the straight. He's going to sweep around the outside of turn 4, but he doesn't get the move done. Ocon moves into P8. Vettel tucks in behind for P. No, actually, Vettel does not want to give up that position, and I think he has. He's just damaged his front wing on Ocon's rear tyre there, and that is pretty much the end of Vettel's race, unless he gets some very lucky safety car timings there. But yeah, Vettel just would not let that position go, and it just cost him massively in the end there, as Verstappen dives it down the inside to get the move done. He could have just waited that corner. I don't know why he didn't, but he was hungry to get that position, and so he's done it. And now the 2 Ferraris racing each other, knocking wheels with each other, so Matteo Binotto must be absolutely pulling his hair out at the moment. These guys should be working together to move up the field, not racing each other like this. They're still going into turn 1. Leclerc around the outside of Sainz, and that's now put Sainz under pressure from Gasly and Hamilton. So these guys are just costing each other so much time. They should already be in the points, up with Verstappen now in P9. But yeah, they're just wasting time. And Gasly, has he got the move done on Sainz? He's gone around the outside of turn 3. You'd think he has the better run, and he does. So Sainz back down to P13 now. But in that Ferrari, you'd assume he has the pace to go back on Gasly there, and he does down the inside of turn 4. But Gasly with a better run around the outside. Does he get it done? Yes, he does. That's the move done there, and now Sainz has to be very careful of Hamilton behind. But looking now back towards where Mick Schumacher is, he's got Max Verstappen right behind him, and Verstappen down the inside of the second to last corner, and he gets the move. Not quite done yet, actually. Schumacher holding it around the outside of the final corner, and he does. He holds position over Verstappen. I'm sure Verstappen will be very annoyed at that, but this is helping us because we are just ahead of this battle. And so, yeah, the more of a fight Schumacher puts up with Verstappen, the more time that allows us in free air. But you can see we're just not able to pull away. We are right ahead of these guys as Verstappen around the outside of turn 1 there, gets the move done. And, yeah, he's also got DRS off of us. And so I can imagine it's not going to be very long before the Dutchman is right on our tail. However, Schumacher now under attack from Ocon and Leclerc. Ocon goes to the outside of turn 3. Does he get the move done? He's held it there. He's not quite got the speed for it by the looks of it, but they've got to be careful of this Ferrari because, yeah, Leclerc will charge it through very quickly if the opportunity presents itself as they go side by side into turn 4 here. Ocon round the outside. They made a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there, but Schumacher holds position over the Alpine. No, Ocon maybe deploying a bit of energy there to get himself right up alongside once again, and again Schumacher holding it around the outside. This time he does get the move done and holds on to P8 there ahead of Ocon in P9. But looking back up ahead, yeah, it was inevitable. Verstappen right all over the back of us here as we head into the second to last corner here on lap 10 to finish it off. There's a yellow flag. That is not a free position, unfortunately. That is, I believe, Zhou Guan Yu there in a lap down he is. And that's actually caused a safety car. That has saved our skin. We were being hounded by Verstappen in the Red Bull behind us, but it just has not quite worked out for him. But look at this. This has caused some drama. There you go. Ocon went to pull into the pit lane there as the safety car was called out. Leclerc tried to go around the outside, but just misjudged it and has completely destroyed his front wing. But he's also missed the pit entrance. And yeah, that is a huge shame there for Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. And actually, he might even be retiring from the race, is he? Because he's going very slowly. That could be massive. And he is retiring from the Grand Prix. So that is just even more of a disaster for Ferrari here. You can see we come into the pit lane at the end of lap 11 there. Verstappen behind us as well. We're going to go onto the hard compound tyre. And unless another very late safety car comes out and the opportunity presents itself, this should be our one and only stop of the racing. So getting an optimal turn-in point there, absolutely crucial to try and stay ahead of Max Verstappen. The hard tyres go on. We get out nice and easily, no issues. And yep, that is our pit stop. Nice and done. That's exactly what we want to see. And actually, Verstappen didn't come in behind us. That's my mistake. He stayed out. That could be, yeah, very bad. He's taken the lead of the race, you know, to be fair to him. But unless he has some mega pace, there's this whole pack of cars behind him now that have pit. And so Verstappen's going to have to pull an entire pit stop distance in this race. He's going to have to hope for a safety car, or that he's just got some otherworldly pace to try and make up that gap. But you can see only a couple cars in the top 10 here yet to make a pit stop. That's including Verstappen and Schumacher in P1 and 2. George Russell still effectively leading this race. We are right down in P12 for this restart, so we're buried right in the mid-pack. And this could get very interesting. We've just got to be careful, basically. We've just got to be really careful not to get any silly damage, because eventually a few of these cars ahead of us will come into the pit lane, and we will resume our effective position. Albon down in P18. This at least gives our teammate a chance to be back in the actual main part of this race. He's not a lap down. He is actually on the lead lap here. So, yeah, anything can happen still. It's still very early in the race, about a third of the way through at this point. So, yeah, anything could happen. I guess that's really the story to take away from this. We don't know. Verstappen seems to be in a pretty bad position at the moment, but yeah, who knows? The AI can be quite crazy, as we saw last time out in Miami. But either way, here we are on the restart. Can we maybe make up a couple positions? Magnussen is an effective position that we are trying to make up here. Unfortunately, just not the greatest restart from us. It wasn't bad by any means, but just not enough to try and make a spot up on the Haas. Although Magnussen, with a bad run out of turn 1, allows us the opportunity to maybe have a look into turn 3. We're deploying our ERS as we head up the hill now. Can we look to the inside? Yes, we do. We're to the inside for turn 3. It's going to be very close between us. They're almost banging wheels, but we do get the move done on the Dane in the Haas there and get ourselves into P11 for now. We're now behind Valtteri Bottas, who he's going to have to make another stop in this race on those medium tyres. But yeah, at least for now, we are ahead of Magnussen, and we're just going to try and hold that and yeah, see if we can maybe move up a couple more positions as Bottas and Stroll looking to maybe battle away with each other there, although we don't want to get caught up in that because they do have to make a pit stop here. You can see the end of lap 14. That is what the both of them do, and they're going to be quite a ways back. And up ahead, Verstappen and Schumacher also into the pit lane. So I don't know why these guys stayed out to just come in at the end of the safety car period. I'm not too sure what the play was there, but either way, we're into P5 now. So yeah, we can't complain too much. We've got Russell leading the way ahead of Perez, and Ricciardo still in P3, so those positions haven't changed. Alonso up in P4, ourselves in 5th, with Sainz now in P6, Magnussen down in P7, Vettel and Magnussen actually battling away there for 7th and 8th, and then further behind, Norris and Ocon battling away for the final points-paying positions. But a lot of these guys now, we've got a big mix of people on the mediums that still have to pit and people on the hards going to the end. So this whole order is going to change as we go through the race. Magnussen gets back down the inside of Vettel and holds on to P7 now, ahead of the 4-time champion. Meanwhile, up ahead, Alonso's made the move on our fellow Aussie there to get into P3 in the Alpine. So good drive so far from the 2-time champion. Now heading on to lap 16, we got more battles. This race has been very good for wheel-to-wheel racing as Norris now gets around the outside of Sebastian Vettel. But look at this, we got a whole pack of cars behind the 4-time champion, all looking to get themselves into the points here. Esteban Ocon in P10 holding on to that last point spot. But here comes Albon, our teammate, trying to go around the outside. They're 3 wide through turn 3. Is our teammate able to get himself into the points-paying position? He's alongside the Alpine for the final spot in the points. He's going to go around the outside of turn 4 here. Is he going to hold it? They're side by side, maybe a little bit of wheel banging, but they're going to keep going now all the way around to turn 5 here. And have they got it now? No, they're going to keep arguing. This is such an important battle here for our teammate to try and get his first points of the season, but he's just not quite able to get the move done. Ocon holds on to P10 for now. But as I was saying earlier on in the video, Albon definitely showing that he has the pace to get some points as Sainz now down our inside, but he does have to make another pit stop there. You can see he's on those medium tyres, so I'm not too worried about letting him go and maybe just trying to use a bit of DRS to pull myself away from the rest of this pack. But yeah, it's really a Ferrari. This has just been such a mess of a race. They did all right in qualifying. Then in the sprint race, they both threw themselves out of the points and right down the bottom of the field. And now we've got Leclerc out of the race, and Sainz is going to be way back now, making a pit stop here, just past the halfway point of the race. You can see, unfortunately, we weren't able to pull away from the guys behind. We're now in a three-way battle with myself, Magnussen, and Norris, although here comes Magnussen with a bit of front wing damage, so maybe battling away with Lando Norris there. Magnussen has managed to chip his front wing, so yeah, that's a huge shame there for the Haas driver, but that takes a bit of the pressure off of us as we look further back. This now gets Albon into P9, P8 actually make that, as he does go past Magnussen in the pit lane, but here comes Verstappen now. He easily gets around the outside of Albon. That was never really going to be a fight, but Albon's still in P9 there. He's got to watch out though, because just 4 seconds back is Lewis Hamilton, who will no doubt be pushing to try and catch up on our teammate. And looking up ahead now, we actually have Ocon bowing out of the race there. So there goes the Alpine engine. That'll put a bit of pressure on Fernando Alonso there, up looking for a podium position. But that does help our teammate again now as he moves up another position into P8. That gives him a bit more of a buffer for if Hamilton is able to close in on him there. But yeah, this is looking really good for us at the moment with myself in P5, Albon in P8. Here comes Hamilton. You can see he's closed in about a second since the last time we checked in on that gap. But now here comes Lando Norris on the back of us. Verstappen is also closing in on this battle. He gets around the outside of the McLaren. What a move there for Max. That shows how in tune he is with that car and how quick that Red Bull is in general. Just able to do such an incredible move around the outside. But now here he comes on us on lap 26. He goes down our inside. I'm going to try and look to get the move back, but unfortunately, yeah, just as I was saying just then, that Red Bull is just so quick. I'm going to try and use some DRS and ERS here to keep up with and maybe even pass Verstappen again as we head on to lap 27. You can see he has a bad run out of the first corner as we now head down towards turn 3 as we end the turn 2 kink here. I guess we're going to have a little look. We've got DRS. We're going to look to the inside at the very last second, but I decide to just back out of it there. This allows Lando to try and look around the outside of turn 3, but he's not able to get the move done. And so for now, we hold on to P6, but this McLaren behind us is looking very quick and very hungry for this position as we now head on to lap 28. Lando down the inside. I'm going to go for the cutback though. Beautiful move there. Pulled it off beautifully. Textbook cutback. And that is us back into P6 for now. But Lando definitely got the pace on us. As we look, there's a race for the lead here with less than 10 laps to go. Perez looking to make a move on George Russell, but there's contact between them. And Perez has broken his front wing. Is he going to come into the pit lane? That is huge. He has to come into pit. Look how much slower he is than the Mercedes. And yes, he is. Perez throwing away a podium position there. Obviously, he's going to go for the race win there. You're not going to back out of that move to try and keep your second place safe, but just super unfortunate there for the Mexican looking to get a race win. He's in the title fight in this championship, and so yeah, that could be massive there. He was looking to maybe pull some points on Carlos Sainz, who is not even in the points in this race, but yeah, he's had to come into the pit lane, and also Hamilton has to come into the pits as well, so he's maybe damaged his front wing trying to get ahead of Albon, which means Albon is going to hold on to P8, so yeah, this is just insane. A lot of the top runners struggling to just put a clean, decent race together, other than, of course, George Russell leading the way. He's led from the start. He's had no issues. Alonso now in P2, Ricciardo in P3, Verstappen in P4, and then it's ourselves battling away with Lando still for P5 and 6. We've got Perez, who's come out of the pit lane just behind us in mediums, though. He's going to be mega quick in a fast car on fast tyres. I imagine he'll work his way through us with no issues. Albon in P8 there. He's actually right behind this battle as well, so he could very well find himself battling away with myself for P5 here, as Sainz in P10. He's gotten himself into the points now, so at least looking to get something for Ferrari to bring away from this Grand Prix as we go a bit wide there, and Lando just slips through completely. We're going to try and hold it around the outside, but just a big mistake from ourselves there, which could cost us not 1 but 2 positions if we're not careful here. We do get the position back on Lando, but that's made him vulnerable now to Sergio Perez, who's going to look to the inside of the second to last corner, dives it down the inside, gets the position done, and yeah, he's now right on the back of us. So yeah, as I was saying, this isn't going to be much of a fight. He's going to fly past us here into turn 3. I'm not even going to put up a massive argument. I'm going to break it nice and early to allow him to get through, make sure we get a nice run out of the corner to stay ahead of the McLaren. And yeah, we're going to now try and hold on to P6. Yeah, this has been a very intense race. A lot of these fast guys making big mistakes has really shaken up what is going on in this Grand Prix. Sonoda now sets the fastest lap just to add to the craziness that is the Austrian Grand Prix right now. But here we go now. Lap 34, 3 laps to go. Carlos Sainz has now closed in on us here, and he's going to go to the inside of turn 1. He gets the move done. So Sainz finding some pace now towards the end of this Grand Prix. He's worked his way up into P6 from where he was in P10 just not that long ago, really. As well, we're not going to let this go because there are only 3 laps to go. I reckon we can try and fight this and hold position over Carlos. We're going to go to the outside of turn 3, try and get the better run out of the corner. Who's going to get DRS out of us, though? Unfortunately, it is Sainz. Really, we needed that if we wanted to make sure we get this position done nicely. We're going to be in the slipstream, though, so I'm going to try and pressure him. Don't make a mistake. He does. He has a massive lockup. We're back through. So is Lando Norris. And, yeah, just Sainz getting pressured by myself here in the Williams. And we're going to go 3 wide. And the P5 Sainz has run up the back of me there and destroyed his front wing. So, oh my goodness. The craziness and drama of this Austrian Grand Prix just continuing to pile on here. As Sainz is going to have to come into the pit lane there. You can't drive around with just 0 front wing like he's got now. And that is 100% 0 points there for Ferrari here in Austria. Oh my goodness, they are not going to be happy. He isn't on board with what happened here. You can see, just on his own, he's made that mistake under pressure from myself. He's now trying to recover from that mistake, and he just runs straight into the back of me there and destroys his front wing. I don't know if he was paying too much attention to Lando and not enough attention to me, or if he maybe just outbraked himself, didn't realise that I was maybe going to go as slow as I was through turn 5, because obviously I had a car on my outside, so I couldn't go full speed, and I was on the inside to begin with, so I couldn't go full racing speed. I'm not sure what happened with Carlos there, but yeah, massive shame for him there, but that does take a bit of pressure off of us, because we're now battling with a McLaren instead of a Ferrari as we head on to the final lap of the Grand Prix here. We've got a big battle going on now between ourselves, Lando, and Schumacher, all of us looking to get some decent points here in this Austrian Grand Prix. As Schumacher dives it up the inside of Lando and myself. This is insane battling 3-way here for the final lap of the Austrian Grand Prix. Lando's now dropped a bit behind, but Schumacher to the outside of us of turn 4. He had the DRS. We're going to hold the inside. I don't want to let him through. We've both gone a little bit wide. Lando now brought back into this battle, and look at that. Albon is slowly closing in on this. So if we keep battling, then Albon could very well find himself in this battle. We're going to go around the outside of Mick Schumacher, Lando, all over the back of the both of us. This is so close. We're going to slightly bang wheels there. We're still side by side with the Haas as we now go down towards the second to last corner. Lando is going to put his nose down the inside to make this 3 wide into the second last corner. He's made contact with Magnussen. I've had to back out there to avoid contact. Albon now, he got himself into this battle. He's got himself into P9. We're going to go side by side with Lando, but he holds on to P7. Schumacher P6, myself P8, Albon P9. What an insane finish. We've got to watch the onboard replay for this. You can see Lando was down our inside. I had to go out of it to try and avoid. Lando's damaged his front wing. Magnussen's gotten away home free with this. Unfortunately, Norris is able to get the better run out of the final corner there and just beats me to the line. But have a look at this. This was insane. This was a very silly move. He should have been penalised, in my opinion. Look at that. Over the grass and inside curb. Smashes into Magnussen. I had absolutely nowhere to go with that. And, yeah, unfortunately, you can see he's just able, with a bunch of ERS there, to just by a nose get himself across the line ahead of myself. Here's the onboard from Albon, though. This really shows what happened. Look at that. He tries to get down my inside. He even tries to get down the inside of Lando as well. He could have made 2 positions there. But very smartly decides to back out of it there, because that would have been a mega crash if he hadn't have backed out of that. But, yeah, wow. What an insane finish to the Austrian Grand Prix. A lot of drama.
Another historic win under their belts. Well done to the whole team at Mercedes. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners.
So here we are with the weekend results for the Austrian Grand Prix. Russell comes away with the most points there, winning both the sprint race and the Grand Prix. Alonso second, Perez third, Ricciardo in fourth, Verstappen fifth, Schumacher sixth, Norris seventh, ourselves doing very well in P8. They're getting ourselves 5 points. Bottas in ninth, Magnussen 10th, and Albon getting himself his first points of the season there. 2 points, comes away in 11th in total there overall for the Grand Prix. So not a bad haul of points here for Williams. 7 points in total. I'm still a little peeved about that final move there from Lando. In my opinion, should have been heavily penalised for that. That was just extremely dangerous and silly. But what are you going to do? Nothing we can really do about it. So we're just going to come away, regroup, regather, and think about how we can get back at him in the next one at France, I believe we are. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. We've had 2 crazy races in a row here, last out in Miami, this time out in Austria. What can happen in France? Let's see. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.